Good day, everyone. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. Hope you are able to hear me. Let me display the slide. Good morning to one and all. Asian session live market analysis on May 3rd, a new month between 5 and 5:30 GMT. So we will be tracking the market using the live market port page as a simple market tracking technique. I'll give the link for the same. Now we find that euro is around 1.3227, dropped about 66 pips from that of Friday close, and 1.3227, 1.3229 are the current levels. The low is 1.3206, which was formed during the early Japanese session, and the high is 1.3360. You can understand that they made a very big spread between the high and the low, about 155 pips. They have made it, but the net change is only 65 pips. So they made a quick upward stop and then subsequently made a drop, and because of that they are able to establish the high and the low to start with for the day. Then in the case of GBP, 1.5244 is the current level, 1.5248 is the R. Then the low is 1.5235. So the market is currently holding near that of the low. The high is 1.5334. The net change is only 23 pips in the case of GBP. So as a result, you find that on Friday they gained the levels in the case of Euro GBP, and subsequently they are making a drop from that of 0.87 area. They had dropped it to 0.8665, and currently Euro GBP is holding around that particular low. So this is how they found more interesting profit earning potency in the case of the cross Euro GBP. Because of that, they made the quick moves in the case of Euro GBP on Friday. They dropped Euro GBP from 0.8696 to the low of 0.8602, then subsequently gained the level all the way to 0.8723. Then from there they made the drop now. So you find that 100 pip swing up and down move swings have invariably facilitated them to offload further positions in the case of, or build sell positions in the case of Euro GBP by the players. Now in the case of USD and 93.96, 93.99 are the current levels. 93.54 is the low, so they made a quick downward stop and then gained the level, but still it has not gone above that of 94. 94.12 is the high, and it changes 11 pips positive. So you find that Euro and GBP are showing net change negative, and USD Yen and USD CHF are showing net change positive. As a whole, you find that USD gaining move, but the commodity pairs indicate a different scenario. USD CAD is currently trading around 1.0170, 1.0174. The low is 1.0159, the high is 1.0180, the net change is 5 pips negative. And in the case of Australian dollar, it is trading near that of the low, 92.12, 92.40, 92.43 are the calls. Then 92.12 is the low, 92.62 is the high, but the net change is again 1 pip negative. So when both the commodity pairs show net change negative and they wanted to make the contrarian move, so we have to wait for the contrarian move to be established. Then subsequently we can understand how exactly they wanted to make, whether the USD gaining move or the USD losing move. Let me go back to that of the PowerPoint presentation. So what is expected today? Now in the case of Euro and GBP, during the Japanese session, they are expected to make the slide and make the lower level swing. Then subsequently during the European session, they are expected to make further downward move, a little bit of downward stop and below that of the low, and subsequently make very quick gain and a very quick drop as a volatile move for the month beginning. Then after establishing the USD gaining move trend in the market, suddenly during the US session they are expected to reverse it by making a lower level swing and quickly gain the levels in the case of Euro and GBP. And as they indicate that USD CAD and AUD both are showing the net change negative now. They wanted to make the contrarian move to start with during the day, and during that particular process, currently you are seeing that USD gaining move, whereas the commodity pairs are showing the contrarian move. So they are expected to make the contrarian move. So during the drop of Euro and GBP, they could make a drop in the case of USD Yen straight as a contrarian move, and also drop USD CHF as a contrarian move when Euro is dropping. So as a result, they will try to establish the lower levels in the case of the commodity pairs and also in the case of Yen crosses. So Euro Yen and GBP Yen also they could make a quick downward move and establish the low for the day and subsequently gain the level. So whenever they make this sort of move, USD gaining or the USD weakening in the case of the majors, and the commodity pairs showing the contrarian move, and you can understand that the contrarian move they wanted to establish during the day, and that will come into effect from the late Japanese session. Now you come across a USD gaining move, suddenly they will make it as a USD gaining move in some pairs and USD loosening move in some other pairs. And that sort of moves they will do, that is referred as a contrarian move. So the expected contrarian move now will be Euro and GBP to drop further downward little more, and USD Yen is also expected to make a drop. Then after making that drop up to that of the low 93.94, in the case of USD they could make a downward stop and below that by another 50 pips, and that will trigger Euro and GBP to gain the levels again. Then subsequently USD Yen also they will try to gain the levels as a continuation of the contrarian move. This sort of contrarian moves are expected during the month beginning and the month end, because in the month beginning people will be waiting for the non-farm payroll data release, and before that they have to earn some money, and that they will try to do it in the case of the crosses, and subsequently they will come to that of the majors when the traders started taking positions in the case of the majors. Now, referring to that of the initial highs and the initial lows, you find that intraday lows and the highs are being established between 2:30 and 3:30 GMT. In the case of Euro, the low is 1.3207, the high is 1.3360 today, and they are not breached. And in the case of Euro, you find that the low 1.3207 has been breached by 1 pip. And in the case of GBP, 52.37 is the low, and currently they have breached it by 2 pips, 52.35, and the high is 1.5334, which is intact. Then in the case of USD CHF, 1.0733 is the low, 1.0844 is the high, and neither the low nor the high are being breached. In the case of Australian dollar, 92.12 is the low, and which is intact, and 92.62 is the high, which is also intact. And so they want to make the contrary move to start with before making any deep correction or the deep rise in the case of the majors. And USD CAD 1.0159 is the low, which is intact, and 1.0180 is the high, which is also intact. So these are all the initial lows and the highs set between 2:30 and 3:30 GMT. So now let us review how exactly the market could make the moves during the day by analyzing the market for another 20-30 minutes. Meanwhile, I'll also answer to the questions which are asked here with regard to the new month expected market moves. And let me give the forecast for this particular week. And today, being the first trading day of this particular month, we could see some volatile moves, uncertain conditions in the market. And tomorrow, from that of the Japanese session, they are expected to open upward and continue to gain the levels, but drop quickly during that of the US session. And day after tomorrow, you will come across again an upward gap opening and volatile moves for the midweek, either way stop trends. Then on Thursday, we could see the gaining in the case of Euro and GBP in a very significant way. At that time, Thursday, Friday, they could go above that of the high set last week. and then subsequently you could see from that of the next week they could gain considerably the levels. Meanwhile, the UK election results would be out and they will be able to establish a trend out of that. And you know that there are a lot of negotiations with that of the players and the other politicians that could get effective. And as a result, after that, they could make the gaining moves in the case of the other majors or Euro and GBP. So these are all the expected moves, and this particular month you'll come across more and more volatile moves in the case of Euro and GBP. And next month you could see a considerable gain. So in this month, don't try to do any sort of position trading aiming about 500, 600 pips profit. Probably you can do a position trade aiming about 100 to 200 pips, but not more than that. So be prepared to do swing trades, either way swing trades in the case of Euro and GBP and also in the case of USDN. And USDN could make a gain, and last month it was expected to go above that of 87 and still it has not gone to that of the 85 region. So this month there could be a possibility for USDN to go to that region of 97. So let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and take up the questions which are asked here. Meanwhile, I'll focus the camera over that of the live market quote page. In Jimbo has got a question. Do you expect Euro to cut the low? Last week's session low. So Euro could go to that level of 1.31, probably 1.3175 or 1.3150 during the intraday and quickly gain the levels. And we may not come across very deep drops. LIC. And do you expect 1.34 level for Euro this week? During Thursday and Friday, we have to watch, and if the volume is optimal, then there is a great potential for Euro to reach 1.34 and above. Then there is FedEx and Search. Please explain dropping USDN and rising Euro GBP move. See, as far USDN is concerned, now currently you find that USDN is making a net change of 6 pips positive, and Euro and GBP are showing a net change of negative of 64 pips and 21 pips respectively, and suddenly they could make USDN also net change negative. As a result, you will find the contrarian move is being established. All the three currencies are dropping. So when Euro and GBP are dropping, it will be USD gaining move. When USD-Yen is dropping, it is USD weakening move. That is referred as a contrarian move. And that sort of move could be seen today during the late Japanese session and also during the European session in order to bring down the levels in the case of Euro-Yen and GBP-Yen. So they could easily cut the low and they are holding near that of the low. And the net change in the case of Euro-Yen is 51 pips and in the case of GBP-Yen is about 5 pips negative. And they could make further downward drop about 40-50 pips and quickly induce the traders to sell there and then accumulate the buy position and gain the levels. So in order to gain the level, they will gain the levels in the case of Euro and GBP and also USD-Yen. As a result, when they gain the levels simultaneously, you will find double edge effect in the case of the crosses. So instead of when Euro is gaining 1 pip and USD-Yen is gaining 1 pip, you will come across approximately 2 pip gain in the case of Euro-Yen. And that is referred as the double edge effect, and that during in the case of the Yen crosses, and during the day they are expected to do that. Then with regard to Euro GBP, you find the net change in the case of Euro is 63 pips negative, whereas in the case of GBP is only 18 pips. So the denominator in the Euro GBP is stronger when compared to that of the numerator. So Euro has dropped more, whereas GBP has not dropped more. As a result, you find that when the numerator is weakened, then you find that Euro GBP drops more. When the denominator weakens, then Euro GBP gains up. So that is how their relation is nothing but a simple ratio. In the ratio, if the numerator increases in number, automatically the levels goes up. When the denominator increases in number, then it comes down. So that is how the ratio works. Then Smith. Then around the initial low, it is not advisable to go long regarding the majors because further drop is expected. It is not always like that. When the initial low has been established, and subsequently I showed you that they cut the low by 1 pip. So when they cut the low by 1 pip, then better wait for them to establish the new low, then subsequently take the position. And you should be calmly watching the market for most of the time and quickly grab the trading opportunity. That should be the appropriate way of trading rather than trying to take a position afterwards expecting the market to move as per your expectation. Then you find more stressful condition is witnessed. Then drop. Will GBP USD drop to a recent low of 1.51? 1.51 is not far off. And if they drop another 30-40 pips, then you should be able to see 1.51 area. And they could try to make such drop today and being the month beginning in order to establish the low for the month. And they will try to hit the stops of the position traders, those who have taken the lowest level long and trying to book profit during the gains. And if they fail to book the profit, and they will invariably show the lower level again. And that's part of the market game. So they make their quick rise and offload their buy positions and quickly build the sell positions and then again drop and buy at the lower level. And so on Friday, when I was doing the Tracking the Forex Market Together webinar, I was telling that I am taking a buy position in the case of GBP. But when they stopped cutting the high for more than 30 minutes, the new high, then immediately I booked a profit near that of the high. And later on during the US session, we have seen that Euro and GBP dropped below that of the initial low, 1.5317. So that is how you find the market creates uncertainties, and also if you miss that opportunity, then you will come across loss. And if you hold the loss making positions for some more time, then the loss will increase. But if you continuously hold the loss making position till the market cycle get completed, then you should be able to book profit. But nobody has got the patience and the equity to do that because they are all referred as the market cycles. Then the players cannot do anything other than gaining the levels in the case of Euro and GBP or losing the levels in the case of Euro and GBP, or they make an alternative moves of gains and loss. Nothing more they will be able to do it in the market, but only thing is we become perturbed listening to the other type of attributes associated with the market. Then Jimbo, do you expect Euro and GBP to end the day closer to the day high low? Okay, they are expected to close the day near that of the high. Then Raj, being a bank holiday in UK, do you see GBP moving much and pre-election in GBP likely to sell off prior to see? Only if they gain the levels in the case of GBP after the election, during the election results, they can create a lot of rumors and make quick moves in the case of GBP. That will give the earning potential for them. And if they don't gain the levels and if they continue to drop after the election, then the traders will become develop the market aversion and they may not enter into the market. So then the players will not find any chance of earning money. So as I have been explaining many times, that lowering the levels or hiring the levels does not give them the profit. And only after the traders' commitment, if they drop, if the traders have taken the buy position, they drop, then they are able to earn. If the traders have taken the sell position in anticipation of the election, then obviously you will find that they have to raise the levels, only then they will be able to earn. So till the 11th hour, till the results are being announced, they will try to create as many rumors as possible because this is the month of election. So they will try to create as many rumors as possible and probably cite some examples and things like that and try to make very quick up and down moves in the case of GBP. So they cannot keep the market subdued. And you just refer to that of the election times in the previous times or in the US election or UK election or European election, etc. You'll come across invariably the market used to be very volatile before that election. And after the results are announced, then there could be a big correction in the market. Then subsequently the gains will happen. They will say, okay, something good is happening. Whatever thing is going to happen, they will say something good is happening for the market and they will gain the sense myth. Do you think that GBP can reach today's high? Yes, there is a great potential for GBP to reach today's high. What level can we a good sell opportunity because of the further drop? And today I am not expecting a very big drop in the case of GBP and Euro as they are done already during the Japanese session. And during the European session, they could quickly drop and show the psychological level below that of 1.32 or below the level of 1.51 and then gain back the levels. So that time they could show the lower levels and beyond that they are not expected to drop in a very big way. Then LIC for the month of May, do you expect new yearly lows for Euro and GBP? Yeah, there is a potential during the this particular week and probably before the non-farm payroll announcement on Friday, they could make a very quick drop in the case of Euro and GBP and then show a new psychological level probably below that of 1.31 in the case of Euro or below that of 1.51 in the case of GBP as an intraday and probably 6th you come across the election and before the election results are out then they will try to make use of a havoc in the market and try to create uncertainties. So watch for the 5th, 6th market moves. Then the 7th, they will just discount all the election moves and they will focus on non-farm payrolls and try to gain the levels. And say that, okay, US economy is weak, so we will gain the levels. So instead of risk aversion, they could bring in the USD gaining moves. So any more questions? So let me go back to that of the PowerPoint presentation. Now, in the case of Euro, they have cut the low by 1 pip, and in the case of GBP, they cut the low by 2 pips. So there is a great chance for them to go below that of the new low established. So they established the initial lows and the high between 2:30 and 3:30 GMT, and slowly make this sort of moves to indicate that they want to drop further down. These are all the indications they try to give it to their counterparts in order to place the orders in the market. And when they cut that low by 10-15 pips and come above that of the low and hold above that of the low for more than 30 minutes, then further drop is not expected. So we have to watch till end of the session, and if they don't cut the new low, then that could be the low for this particular session. And the next session we have to see they could gain the levels a little bit and then make a drop. Then in the case of USDN, they are expected to make a very quick drop to that level of 1.9 to the level of 93 area, or they can go just briefly below 93 or 92.90 or 92.80 and then subsequently gain the levels, and that gaining levels could take USDN above that of 94.12, and I'm expecting them to show 94.77 quickly. And they will not go above that of 94.77 unless and otherwise they establish a trend in the case of Euro and GBP. By simply gaining the levels in the case of USD-Yen, they do not want to create the certainty in the market, and they wanted to maintain the uncertainty in the market. And if not that election, they will have some other data release or some other anticipation and try to continue to create the uncertainty. That is why I always say that there is a certainty with regard to uncertainty to prevail in the market. Then coming to that of uh, the focus for today, the slide and swing near that of the low, which is what happening now, and subsequently during the European session, they are expected to make swing near that of the low and quickly make volatile moves. And you know that the holiday in UK, still they will try to make havoc in the market by making very quick moves in the market and in thin volume conditions. And they are now used to the thin volume condition. And probably that sort of moves could be limited to 30 to 50 pips. Then they may not make any deep corrections and things like that. And then subsequently during the US session, they will say the risk appetite has gone up or the USD gaining move is to change, and then they will probably try to say the risk appetite is going up or USD loosening moves happening. And for that they will use USDN as an instrument and create that uncertainty. And it's a new month beginning, so always understand that last week of the month and the first week of the month, they are expected to make the volatile moves in the market and be prepared for such volatile moves. During such time, don't try to take position trade. And if you want to aim for position trade, try to keep stop at entry once the position makes about 30-40 pips profit and try to trail the stop, maintaining about 50-60 pips away from that other market so that you will be able to maximize the profit. And once the new high has been established and that is not been reached for more than 30 minutes to 2 hours, try to think of exiting of the position and grab the profit. When the profit is seen, you should also have that arc of grabbing the profit. And after seeing the profit, if you develop the greed without any trading plan, then probably if the position might show loss, and then you will think very badly or you repent for that and avoid such thing. And always keep in mind, market continue to give trading opportunities. When a profit is seen, grab it, fine. Then look for next opportunity, enter into the market and try to book profit rather than simply holding the same position and looking for the clues of how exactly the market is going to make the moves, whether on the upside or on the downside. Then don't repent that instead of doing a buy and sell trade, I could have done a sell and buy trade. Don't have that sort of impressions, and market continue to give both buy and sell as well as sell and buy trade opportunities on a daily basis. So in that process, only thing is near that of the high you can sell, but not after the drop. Near that of the buy you can, near that of the low you can buy, but not after the rise near the high. So when you try to do the buy after the rise or try to do the sell after the drop, then you are trapped vulnerably. Otherwise, on a daily basis, if you sell near that of the high or buy near that of the low, you will be able to get the profit booking opportunities in the market consistently. And don't be afraid of certain data release, etc. And don't be afraid of the uncertainties which are being created by the media. And they are doing their duty of creating uncertainty among the minds of the traders so that the traders can do distress trades. So they will try to relate, and that is part of their game. No, they will try to relate the market with so many other markets and try to think that this is how the market works. Then if you think that is the way the market works, then you will be trapped. So you have to develop your own insight rather than trying to depend on others for you to read the market and tell you. And that is why I explained a very simple methodology that doesn't require much of a calculations, and invariably all the charts and statistical analysis imply with regard to the daily initial highs and the lows only. And that is how the pivot points are being calculated. That is how the supports and resistance are being calculated. Instead of doing calculation and trying to average and try to take a level which is slightly lower than that of the actual high, you try to take the actual high. Still, you will be able to do a better job. Rather than spending most of the time in analysis, you will be able to spend your time in reading the market using the live market code page. So I take this opportunity to thank everybody who have come here to listen to my talk, and I'll again come tomorrow and take explain to you the Asian session live market analysis, reading the market conditions from time to time. And after this, I'll post it in the blog, the expected market moves, and also willing to answer to that of the questions which are asked from time to time during the market hours, how exactly the market is expected to make the moves for the day. So I take this opportunity to thank everybody who have come here, and also FX Street for recording this webinar, and also Sandra for moderating the webinar. So see you again tomorrow. Thank you.